and we're back for our third session of the day with my partner in crime, Tamires Gama. With over 14 years of experience in ELT, Tamires is a versatile educator, trainer, speaker, and materials writer. Since 2016, she's been teaching English online and owns Simplifica Inglês, an online English school. Tamires' passion lies in technology, studying gender and race, and designing inclusive lessons. Her qualifications include a BA in languages from USP, TESOL from Anaheim University, California, C2 Proficiency, CELTA, Train the Trainer, and the ACTE from the British Council. She is presently pursuing a postgraduate program in online learning and learning technologies at PUC Rio Grande do Sul, and she's also an e-moderator at the British Council Teaching for Success program. I'm glad to
Yes.
I'm glad to be your friend. Oh my god, it's incredible.
Thank you, dude. Thank you
So,
so much.
without further ado, the floor is all yours. Break a legs.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. It means a lot to us. Well, words are not enough to say thank you or thanks for supporting the cause or thank you for being here on a Saturday morning. I know that time is this valuable lesson, and I know that you are here for learning and also for helping. Well, let's get this party started then. My talk will be a short one. The aim is not really talking much about the concepts of chatbots, but how to use them to enhance our lessons and maybe provide our students with something different. So, the idea is teaching you how to use it, and then you can also assess if if it is going to be useful, right? So then later on you can tell me. So first things first, what a chatbot is. Tis, we know that we all have been maybe at least faced with a chatbot, but the concept is important. Chatbots, they have a name, which aims at to simulate a human conversation through text or voice interactions. So nowadays, we know how chatbots can be weird. What do I mean by weird? Sometimes you ask something and they reply to something that they were trained. But so if this is something that is not that humane, how can we use that to engage our learners? So this is something that we're going to be talking about. Well, chatbots, they have I'm trying to narrow down to two types. There are more if you search it, but there are two kinds of chatbots. The first one is this one. There's, let me show you here. It is the rule based one in which we predefine the rules and patterns. So, this is why sometimes we get stuck into some conversations with chatbots because they will only respond to what they have been trained with. So, this is a simple and structured way to maybe answer to questions regarding your business, or if you want to schedule a doctor's appointment. They're going to play on this very basic interaction. And many times we feel like, oh, this is the robot. I really want to talk to someone for real. And nowadays, we do have a second type of chatbots, and they are the ones based on AI. So the AI powered chatbots, they use artificial intelligence and machine learning techniques to understand and respond. So they better respond to keywords or to more, let's say, elaborate questions. They are more flexible. Therefore, they're going to respond to, let's say, a human like level. And this is, let's say, some teachers usually share with me, they are worried. Oh, Tammy, I was responding to this chatbot and it felt like I was talking to somebody, like a real person. And this is because they use AI. Well, now that you know what a chatbot is and the kinds of chatbots we have, we also need to think, how can I use them with my students? Will there be any implication regarding that? So, this is what I want to talk to you before we explore the chatbots. As educators, we have to be aware of the ethical implications when using AI, and not only for chatbots. This algorithmic bias occurs when these systems they display this unfair actually unfair pieces of information, and maybe opinions. I'm saying maybe opinions because we know that it gathers, information from the internet, and this is why it is not one opinion only. Um, this is something that we should be really careful about. Whenever introducing any tool to your students, you should test it. Check if the way that it is responding to your learners shows any kind of prejudice or any favor. Actually, not favorite, but if it doesn't favor one kind of region in the world when generating images, what kind of images does it bring? So this is the kind of awareness that teachers need to have and need to raise whenever using any kind of tool. It can be either a chatbot or if you are just using generated images. Um, this is something that as educators, we have to train our brains because whenever we're searching or using prompts, sometimes do not pay that much attention. So if I ask this AI to generate a picture, what kind of picture will it bring? Will it bring just people from one specific region? What about the pieces of information? So this is what we have to be careful about. Second point, another ethical implication has to do with data. So we all know that nowadays data is this valuable, let's say, asset. So your personal data is worth, let's say, millions because it can be passed on. People can get in touch with you, they can offer you products. What about our students' data? So, data privacy is also another important matter when we expose students to tools, because we have to make sure that when students share their data, is it going to be stored into this app? How are they treating data? What about you when you ask students to fill in a form? Which kind of data are you collecting? Are you collecting their birth date, their names, their IDs? So, how are you going to store that? What if your computer gets a hold? So, this is what we have to be careful about. Moving on, another point that I consider pretty important, it is equity and access. What kind of tools am I using with my learners? Will all my learners benefit from it? When I say benefit from it is, how can I make sure that all the learners will have the fair access? Will I make them pay in order to use the tools? Will I be paying? What about my learners who can't access internet? So, for instance, if you teach students who work inside ships, how are you going to make sure that they will all benefit from that tool you are using? We know that tools, they need to be assessed, analyzed, tested, and if they do not fit your students or your students' profile, they should be discarded because the main goal is to make it accessible for students and affordable, let's say. Well, this is a principle that I have. So whenever I use something in my lessons, I try to check if all my learners will benefit or the learners from that group will find it valuable. And last but not least, another important point is human values. Um, I do like using chatbots. The one that I'm going to be showing you today, it simulates a human interaction, but my students know that it is something that I prepared for them. And whenever we finish a task or whenever they finish it on their own, I always try to include a follow up question to check if their experience was a pleasant one, if they can gather something they have learned, if they can put into practice into their own lives, and to really address that. I have prepared this chatbot for you, but I'm also your teacher. I'm your tutor. So I'm going to give you feedback based on what you have produced. Because we should also build this bridge between technology, the tutor, the learner's experience, and how they felt about using that. Teaching them. I'm not saying that it is just that we teach the language. We also teach them some very important skills, which are AI skills. One point in my lessons is how can I make my learners aware that learning how to use chatbots or learning how to use AI will be a very important employability skill in the future. So this is the moment that I also take advantage of this topic to tell them that they should get in touch with AI responsibly, critically. Then They are not going to be replaced by the machines, which is something that some learners, they come to me and then they have this fear. So I address these topics with them. So this is why it's pretty important to use the technology, but to keep the human values. Well, having said that, I'm not saying that you have to use this as like a checklist for your lessons, but this is something that I usually do. Whenever I introduce something new into my lessons, of course, using AI or chatbots, I go through these 4 points. Well, and now, as an educator, what would I like my learners to have access to? If I'm using a chatbot, I would love to have a chatbot based on my instructions while protecting student data. We do have numberless chatbots for education nowadays, but some of them collected too many pieces of information from the learners. And this is my concern. When I ask students to log in and to use something that I have prepared into a platform, I make sure that this platform does not collect many pieces of information. And I also check how this data is going to be stored. So this is the kind of care that I take because most of my learners are adult learners. But I train teachers who teach kids, who teach teenagers, and this is their concern. What do I usually say? If you're teaching a teen, you might want them to interact maybe using your login or the school's login. Maybe you can create some email accounts for those learners. So then they just share what is necessary, but I also invite my learners to reflect. Do you know which kind of information you're sharing with this platform? Would you like them to have your email address, to have your contact? So this is the kind of talk that I have before I make my learners use the chatbots or other AI tools that I refer to them. Of course, it is a dream having this platform in which you can use it with your instructions and it does not collect students' data, but it does exist. I'd like to talk about Mizu today. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but Mizu, it is a chatbot for educators, educators from different areas such as arts, economics, let's say physical education, language teachers, art teachers, teacher trainers, and we're going to see it in action. Before we start, as I told you, they're not paying me. Okay, I'm just telling you about this one because this is the one that I have used since January and it is free. But of course, if you want to get more benefits, you'll have to upgrade. But what I like about it is you don't need to have your credit card to get started. If you create your chatbots, you can have 50 students answering per day. So this fits the number of students that I have and the number of teachers that I teach. It uses the basic model from ChatGPT 3.5. There is privacy and data security. They have a very interesting document on that. You can download the ebook up to 50 languages. There is a tool, speech to text and also text to speech. But if you have the free version, you're not going to be able to include the knowledge file, the grading rubrics, and the timer. I have to confess, I haven't felt the need to upgrade. So this is why I'm showing you something free that you can start using with your learners. But if you do feel that you have to upgrade, maybe you can contact them. So now we're going to see what Mizu is about. Let me show you. I'll start with one example. This is a chatbot I created for my students, for my learners. And what I really liked is they suggested the picture. So according to the topic, they suggest a picture, and then I really liked this one. So then I kept it. But if you don't like the picture that they generate, you can definitely change it. So here you're going to see there it is written student access, and then you can ask students to type in their names. So I'm going to include my name, and then I'll show you it in action, and then after we're going to build one together. Okay, start session, and let's see how it goes. All right, so I'm going to show you by bits. This is what your students will find. So this is the chatbot. There is a message, but as we are getting into the details, I'm going to show you it little by little. There you go. So first, here, as my detective assistant, guess the nationality from the country clues I give. Pay attention to spelling and grammar. This is something that you as a teacher can craft. You can change these instructions here. Then, what students will see is the title. You can give the title. So for example, this one is for my basic learners, my A1 group, and they were studying nationalities inside unit 2. This picture I have also chosen. So you can personalize many things into the platform. And then the welcome message will be crafted by the platform, but you can also change the name. Instead of saying detective assistant, you can say dear student or wonderful student, amazing learner. And it really starts with this very enthusiastic message, ready to travel the world and solve mysteries. So the student needs to reply, and this is where the student will type. The student can either write the text, or the student can record his, her, their voices, and then it transforms speech to text. So we are going to answer to this one saying, yes, I am. And then, as you can see, it shows the icon from user because the students were not asked to log in. The students can they can create an account. They can, but then the way they store information, it is not a very thorough form. So students only need to log in using their social login. So then they have this choice. So then the chatbot answers. Fantastic. Let's get started with our first clue. This country is known for its ancient pyramids and the Nile River. Yes. Can you guess the nationality? What have I done? When I introduced this task for my learners, I modeled the task and then I told them this is going to be a challenging task because you will see sentences which are longer than you were, used to. But I'd like you to focus on keywords such as pyramids, the name of a river, the name of an important landmark. And then, of course, because they were working on nationality, can you guess the nationality? The question, can you guess? It is a question that I used in class. So when I prepared this chatbot, I knew what I was doing. So I knew my learners would be exposed to these questions. So I taught them how to deal with the chatbot first. So it made my life easier, I can definitely say. Then, as students, as students need to answer with the nationality, let's say we include Colombian. Let's see what she does. So then she says, it is actually Egyptian. Let's try another one. This country is famous for its sushi and Mount Fuji. What's the nationality? You see, she provides the answer because I included this as a rule when I was creating the chatbot. And you can do it for your learners. Here, she tries that again. What is the nationality? And then students can say, teacher, Japanese. Let's see. Let's see how she replies. Correct. You solved it. They are Japanese. Ready for the next clue? So students, they're going to be engaged, maybe trying to figure out what she's speaking, and they can also listen to her.
Correct. You've solved it. They are Japanese. Ready for the next clue?
Yes. So learners can also learn how to pronounce them. This it is pretty interesting because they get really engaged, and if they answer yes, she will continue. And then they say yes. Let's see, just one more answer. Great, here it goes. This nation celebrated for its neutral stance in conflicts and delicious chocolate. Oh, this is so difficult. My learners would definitely have some difficulties when it comes to this one. And what did I tell them? When you don't know, you can say, I don't know. No problem. Yes. So, and then this is the kind of piece of information that learners can ask you. And then this is what you can bring. I knew that this topic could appear. And then this is what I told them. You can write it down, what you don't understand from the chatbot interaction, and then we can talk, or you can bring it to our class. We have a WhatsApp group, so I could see some screenshots from the interactions here. And this is what you can do. You can engage learners in this asynchronous moment because I don't use it synchronously. We focus on the practice in class, and this was part of their homework. So what I really liked was learners were sharing some screenshots from interesting points they have learned from the chatbot, but they also got engaged into listening to the chatbot or recording their answers so they could notice if they were understood by the chatbot. So now that you have seen it, it's the moment for us to get down to business. We're going to get to how can I do this one? Ah, just as a matter of fact, let me just tell you, when you want your learners to finish the conversation, they can say bye, just like this. And then she replies, goodbye. If you ever want to solve more mysteries, just let me know. Take care. Again, probably they would have some difficulties here, but they do understand take care, which is a way to wrap up or to say goodbye. So, as a teacher, I highly recommend checking the website and the frequently asked questions. Why am I saying that? Because maybe if you work for an institution, you would like them to see how Mizu works. So, this is the website, and you can watch the demo, and it is free for teachers. You can also see what is popular in the community because it can also share with the community, and then you can also see the grades. Although it was designed for up to K-12 learners, you can also design for adult learners, training teachers, whatever you do and whatever you want to include a chatbot. Uh, this is something interesting because they have organized into perfect for high school, perfect for this grade. And down below, you will see, let me just show you, in the About Us, you will see more guidelines, what Mizu is, and managing your account, general information. You can also learn the terms of service, the student privacy policy. So whenever I go to any website or any AI tool, I check privacy policies. How much do they store from me or from my learners? And so then I can make a decision if this is going to be something risky to bring into my practice as a trainer or as a teacher. Well, I know that you're all curious about how to build your chatbot. So when you create an account, this one, I created a new one for us today, and I included 4 examples of chatbots. You can see your chatbots, and it is pretty user-friendly. But if you have any difficulty, we do have tutorials. So let me just close and show you something. So this is where you find you, your name, the number of followers, because you can publish for the community, and you can also have tutorials. So then first you can start here. Then you will learn how to start a session, reviewing and grading, because you can also access learners production. And if you do want to upgrade your account, you can check the pricing over here. So you can check that later on. As I told you, let's build one pretty quickly. So clicking here, yes, you can custom yours. You will create the prompt from scratch, or you can have an AI generated one. Let's include one here. Let me just show you something. Yes. So if you want to create yours, you can have learning objective. This is how you do it. And then you can also click it here. Describe the specific skill or knowledge that the student is expected to acquire by the end of the interaction. So here we have an example. Students will analyze and evaluate the strategic decisions made. Okay. Or you can do something simpler. For example, students are supposed to answer to personal information questions. And then I'm doing something really simple. The grade, and then you have all the grades. Unfortunately, you cannot see, but I'll just tell you. There is a drop-down menu over here, and then you see all of the grades. I'm going to include university, so it focuses on adult learners. Click here, get ideas, and then it can be connected to either a quiz or a conversation. And then you can see all the options here. I will include this one, which is easier, and then you click generate. Yes. So here, these are the AI instructions, and then you can change it here. You are a quiz master. Students will answer personal information questions to practice language skills and build rapport with classmates. Learning outcome, improved language skills, and enhanced social interaction. You can also change the name of the AI, which is in the hello. Yes. Let me include here your favorite tutor, like this. And then you can also change the picture. If you don't like it, you can click it here and then you generate another one. So describe the image, a female picture. Let me include here. It is generating. That's it. And then you can keep crafting. A teacher from Brazil, a Black teacher, so then you can just craft according to what you wish. Then we have more options, and this is what it is important. So in more options, you can include rules, such as in my chatbot for nationalities, I asked the AI to provide feedback, or to don't ask questions with WH beginnings. So then my learners wouldn't know, for instance. Always finish the conversation with a compliment or praising students. Unfortunately, for the free version, you cannot include the knowledge file. What is that? If you are teaching your learners a specific subject, you can upload a PDF with everything that you have taught, and then learners will be quizzed or tested on that knowledge. And then you can also have the audio, and then you choose the voice, and you are ready to go. This is the thumbnail and the description. You can also craft this one. So it is pretty easy to do it. Before publishing it, you can save it. and you can preview. You can start the chat, and if you need to update, you can. Now it's time for you to also publish, and then I'll keep it private. And there you go. And this is how you can share with your learners. Clicking on sharing, you can either share with your fellow teachers or your students. To share with students, we create the session, and that's it. Don't forget to click on launch. They check if the pieces of information are safe, and you're good to go. Then you can invite your students. Well, dears, this is all. I'd like to thank you for being here with me. Unfortunately, I cannot check some of your questions, but if you do have questions, please, you can either send them here in the YouTube. I promise, I will check them all. Edu, over to you.
Hi, Tammy. Wow, so much. We've learned so
You are
much.
muted. I can't hear you.
Okay, so many things to unmute. You have no idea. You
Were you
thought
taking
that you could
notes?
hear me, but you couldn't. I'm sorry. So, so many things to learn. I was checking the chat box here in the live. People were just on YouTube. People were just enchanted by this tool.
Cool.
There's just a comment. One question that I would like to bring to discussion.
Please.
Let me. Maria Carolina asked if it is available to Android users. Do you know? Do you have
I
that?
guess what happens is Mizu might be used through the app, or the option that I usually give my learners is using through their desktop or through the link. So, for instance, when students they open the link, they can be directed to the app, but I don't ask my learners to download the app. I ask them to open it on their browsers, either
Okay.
on their desktop computer or when using Google Chrome, for instance.
Okay.
It works. It works.
Okay.